my cousin Jason. He dropped this truck off for a simple lift kit and bigger tires, and I got a little carried away. Now I put him to work. Just don't remember to leave your credit card number. Okay, so what am I doing back here? I've got him up work. Yeah, right, I can't talk. I've got him up there working on the front end, taking all the shit off we don't need. Back here, the rear end's just about finished up. I still need limit straps and sway bars, but besides that, she's pretty well done. Everything's plated and gusseted, strong and bomb-proof. Now, what I'm gonna work on next is finishing up the center cradle in the center of the truck. My transfer case is hung from this cross member, and I wanna connect my bottom cradle to it. Something from here to there, something from corners from here to there and here to there. Then on the outside, I'm gonna put a big old piece of shiny aluminum plate so I can put some stickers on it. So I'm gonna cover this corner here, plate it into this tube, and make it part of the frame. Then I gotta make plates alongside the tubing here and all underneath the frame so I can bolt that plate to it. I didn't fall in love with that one yet, but it's there for a possibility.
Here's the weak one. Ew, this one smells really bad. Look, I'm in a weak one.
This side came out awesome. Now I gotta go over to the other side and do all the same work over there. Can I weld a little more?
Dinner time!
I am lucky to have the most beautiful woman in the whole wide world making me deer meat for dinner every night. Praise the Lord! Welcome to the dirt church.
You're eating chicken tonight.
Shut me down. Chicken? The fuck is that? She's fucking with me. Things are really starting to look pretty strong and finished down here. What's next? Just keep going. Yep, starting to look pretty good. I got a lot more work to do though. For all intents and purposes, this side of the cradle is done. I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of holes. Well, the best way to go through life is by having a lot of holes around you, and that's a philosophy I live by. Maybe sometimes the best way to go through life is not by having a bunch of holes around you, but you know, it sounds like fun until you get into that situation, and then you realize that there's more than one hole on your hole, and one of them makes noise. So maybe this kind of hole is the best kind of hole to keep around, because you could stick a bolt in it. All right. Here's the basic idea. 4 links coming in here, 4 links coming in there. Everything is gusseted, strengthened, triangulated, and X'd up. Beautiful and strong. What do we got going on here on the outside of the cradle where I would normally have jammed a bunch of pipes and tubes? Well, we've got some flat plates and holes because I'm gonna put a big aluminum cover on the outside of this cradle. Just a big old plain piece of aluminum. And as that's sort of something I've never done, I would have done something different maybe, but that's where I took it. And I think what happens now is my plate is surrounded by just a bunch of bolts. Looks like it's ready to attack something. Just gonna look very serious. Whole lot of bolts holding on a piece of plate that really doesn't have any purpose other than to look the way it looks. But if you really think about it, I mean, it basically is like it's adding strength, I guess. It's structurally, what's the word I'm looking for? It's structurally important, I think. Alright, now this side's done too, and it's pretty badass. I'm starting to get excited about it. From the rear axle up into here, the frame, everything I built is totally finished. Maybe I should have talked to you when I said that. You know, sometimes I like to look at what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it, but then I realize I'm not looking at you. And you might be looking in my ear hole thinking the noise is coming from there. I'm not sure. You know, I think that's how I would talk to you, even if you were talking back to me. I think I'd look away sometimes, you know. I don't really know. What am I supposed to do? Anyway, from the rear all the way up into here, everything is pretty much done. Yeah, I've still got to hook up limit straps and sway bars. Okay, got to build the sway bars. It's gonna, you know, that'll be a little bit of work there, a couple days of fooling around there, but getting there pretty much. The suspension is pretty much done. I got to go to the front axle. I got to make some plates and gusset some things up. I still got to wait for my steering cylinder to get here so I can figure out where that's going to go, and I got to build around it. Same thing up front, limit straps and sway bars, steering, and then this thing's going to be pretty much going to need a lot more work. Like I said before, this is a very detailed project. I'm starting from a truck that's been sitting. I took this truck that was sitting and rotting away and just dying. Not even dying, it was dead. And I'm bringing it back to life. And not only am I bringing it back to life, I'm doing it in a way that nobody else would have done. You know why? Because it just came from here. And I put it together, and you can't duplicate that because I wasn't made in a factory. A baby factory, so to speak, but only a couple babies came out of there, and we're all very different, so. And they're also very creative little monsters, so that's good. You know, I came from a factory that made some creative little monsters, and that's a good factory to come from. I mean, some factories just make the same old nonsense. Just get a bunch of people that just want to just mope around and be happy. You know, just doing things but not making things. And I want to make things, and I want to make my own things that I think of, and that makes it so much better. And then when it works, it's even better than that. Why am I putting so much effort into something that's not mine? Well, that's a tough one. Well, I got a nice welder out of it, but besides that, it's a sentimental thing. I can remember being a kid when this truck got lifted for the very first time, and I remember that was it for me. That was what I was gonna do. Wow, I want that. That's what I need. That's for me. That's where I'm headed. And I remember being a teenager, well, I'm still a teenager, remember, but I remember being a kid and looking at Four-Wheeler magazine and looking at magazines and looking at these trucks in there and going, you know, like 8-inch lift kit, like, I don't know, man, that's complicated. You know, you gotta jack the truck up and hold it there. I would study all the bolts I would have to take off and just imagine myself, like, how do you take the stock suspension out and then reconnect the axles to the frame with the new springs. Like, man, I thought leaf spring lift kits were going to be a big deal. I had anxiety about that. Like, I need to do this, but I'm scared. And then if I heard like welding was involved, I was like, oh my God, I could never do that. And then I picked up the welder and ag shop and started sticking stuff together, and I kind of figured that out. So I was like, oh, I can do that. And then the first time I lifted a truck on my own, I didn't like the weld on the tie rod, so I grounded it smooth, and then I drove it and jumped over a curb and broke my tie rod and felt like the dumbest person in the world. And that little kid grew into me, and then I'm doing all of this, and I want this truck. I want the kids to see this truck who are like, I want that. I just want them to look at it and be like, well, I could never fucking do that. Like, Jesus fuck. Yeah, or, you know, like, what, like, did a team of very highly trained Mexican laborers build this thing? You know, that's what I want to accomplish with this truck. I want to scare people with how much work and time and effort and thinking went into it. You know, because, I mean, I'm only going to be here for a little while, hopefully for a long while, but, you know, we're all only here for a little while, and I'd like to leave a few things behind me. This will be one of them. This one will live, you know, and then somebody's going to have to be the steward to take care of it one day, you know. Maybe it won't be like a super rare collector's item, but it's definitely one of a kind. It's definitely art. It's definitely a masterpiece. My brother Steve's tired of hearing me say that one, but you got it again. It's a masterpiece. It is. You can't deny that. And it's a lot of holes.
Hello? Are you going to stop recording, camera? I said stop recording. Why is this camera not listening?